Thanks for your support as a channel member, Tommy Williams! The 2025 Formula One season promises to be one of the sport's best ever, with as many as 4 teams fighting at the front. 2024 saw McLaren and Lando Norris finish on top, but Max Verstappen is gunning for a 5th straight world championship, something only Michael Schumacher has achieved. Lewis Hamilton has joined Ferrari, and there are 5 rookies ready to prove they have what it takes to rise to the top of motorsport's elite. There's a lot that could happen this year, so here are my predictions. We'll start with the first race winner, and I'm going to go for Ferrari's Charles Leclerc. The Scuderia have been strong in Melbourne in recent years, which is where the season starts in 2025 as Bahrain shifts a little bit further back in the calendar. So we go down under to start off the season. The Ferrari team have won 2 of the 3 visits to Albert Park with the ground effect cars. Of course, Charles Leclerc winning there dominantly in 2022 and Carlos Sainz winning the week after he had appendix surgery for Ferrari as Max Verstappen retired from both of those races. And yeah, it's the season opener. Leclerc is going to want to stamp his authority on the team with Lewis Hamilton arriving to Italy, and I'm predicting that Leclerc repeats his 2022 win, but I'd expect stiff competition from the likes of Verstappen, Norris and hometown hero Oscar Piastri. And talking of Ferrari then, and Lewis Hamilton, the big transfer move of 2024 for 2025. Lewis Hamilton, the greatest, most successful driver of Formula One's history, joining the most successful and greatest team in Formula One history. Surely it can only result in success. Well, how's it going to get on in 2025? I would love to see Lewis rock up at Ferrari and do what Sebastian Vettel, Fernando Alonso and Charles Leclerc so far have all failed to do in red, and that's win the World Championship. I just don't think that's realistic. I'd be very surprised if we don't see Lewis winning a race or races this year, but I think his campaign is likely going to be about building relationships with the people around him in the team and setting the trajectory for 2026 ahead of the regulation changes. But this is Lewis Hamilton we're talking about, and if the Ferrari is up to it, he could certainly be a title threat. I think he'll take at least 8 podiums and at least 3 victories. I'm absolutely fascinated by the dynamic at McLaren. Oscar Piastri is clearly extraordinarily fast, but Lando Norris is no pushover. The team managed the team orders situation to varying degrees of effectiveness throughout 2024 on its way to the Constructors' title, so that was a success in itself. They got the job done, their first Constructors' Championship since 1998, a long time waiting for that. But I would really like to see Piastri and Norris have it out in a kind of Rosberg-Hamilton style head-to-head. Those 3 years of Brosades, as they were some of the most intense that I've seen during my time watching Formula One, and I'd love to see Piastri and Norris kind of have that similar battle. I think it would be really, really interesting. It would push their competitive spirit within the team to the absolute edge. It would be really interesting to see if they can maintain that sort of friendly nature without it going overboard, and if McLaren can actually keep a lid on it. I think that would be absolutely fascinating. If McLaren delivers a car that's clear of the competition, this could be one of the most intense in-house title fights we've ever seen, because both drivers are just so quick. Who would have the edge? I'm not sure. Some people will say Piastri, some people will say Norris. I think Norris would have a slight edge given his experience, but we'll have to wait and see. And of course, the outcome of all of that, if this scenario was to happen, could shape the future for both the Australian and the Briton. As I mentioned at the very top of the video, 5 rookies joining the F1 grid this season after none for the start of 2024. Oliver Behrman joins Haas, Kimi Antonelli joins Mercedes, F2 champion Gabriel Bortoleto is at Sauber, Isaac Hadjar steps up to the Racing Bulls team, and Jack Doohan makes it into Alpine. I think Antonelli will score the most points and probably grab the headline results. I'd expect to see a podium from him at some point, and that's probably because he's going to have the most competitive car out of the 5. And with the other four likely to be in less competitive machinery, we'll have to judge them kind of equally on their own merits. Behrman showed in his 2024 Super Sub appearances he's probably got what it takes to be at the front of Formula One, but a whole season will give us a much better picture. Bortoletto shown in Formula 3 and Formula 2, he is a consistency machine, and it's just a shame the Sauber's probably going to be the slowest car on the grid, to be honest, but it will be Audi in 2026 and hopefully better times ahead. Isaac Hadjar is fast, but the Red Bull environment always worries me. If Liam Lawson underperforms in the Red Bull, will the Frenchman be yet another junior driver promoted far too soon, or will Yuki Tsunoda finally get his opportunity in the main team? And Jack Doohan is a solid driver and can be incredibly fast. He's driving for Alpine, so who knows how good the car will be and how long he'll even stay there. Flavio Briatore will just do what he wants, so we could even see Paul Aron making his Formula One debut at some point this season. 10 drivers took to the rostrum in 2024, and I think we're going to see fewer drivers reaching the podium in 2025. I think we'll see Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, George Russell, Kimi Antonelli, Carlos Sainz for Williams, and Yuki Tsunoda in the Racing Bull all make it to the podium. So I think that's 9, but anything can happen in Formula One, and it usually does, so don't rule out Albon maybe getting a podium. What about Lawson? I'm not sure how competitive he's going to be, how competitive the Red Bull's even going to be, so it's going to be, there's definitely scope for more drivers to get to the podium in 25, but they're the 9 that I think will for certain make it into the top 3. I think the Haas pairing of Esteban Ocon and Oliver Behrman has a lot of potential. Ocon's going to be trusted as the experienced team leader now, something he hasn't really enjoyed before, having been partnered with Daniel Ricciardo and Pierre Gasly during his time at Renault/Alpine. So he will be the guy that they look to lead the team and take it forward, and the expectation will be on him, and he will see if he can rise to that occasion, because we haven't really seen that yet. He's always kind of been doubted. There's always been someone who's won races or is potentially favoured by the team around him, and Behrman will push him hard. He's fast, but I think we'll see a few mistakes from Ollie throughout the course of the season, which is natural for a young driver learning with Formula One machinery. So I think they've got the pace within the drivers. It's whether they deliver the car, and I think if they deliver a similar performance to 2024, I fancy them to actually be the 5th best team this year. But the competition in the midfield is going to be as fierce as ever. Let's get down to business. You tune into a predictions video to find out who I think is going to be Constructors Champion and who I think is going to be Drivers Champion. So let's start with Constructors. McLaren probably head into 2025 as favourites, having won in 2024. They won the season finale in Abu Dhabi as well. But I think Piastri and Norris will obviously have their eyes on a driver's title as well. Can McLaren keep everything under control and scoop both crowns? Well, I mentioned earlier, if it's just them, they might start looking at each other a little bit too much. Think 2007, Alonso and Hamilton. They had eyes for each other, they forgot about Kimi Raikkonen. Ferrari have a formidable pairing this year as well. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton are rather good at racing cars, aren't they? And if Mercedes get it right, they could also be a threat. Verstappen will score the majority of Red Bull's points. Lawson's inexperienced at the front, so I can see that holding Red Bull back. I think they'll finish 4th. I think Mercedes will finish 3rd. I think McLaren will pip Ferrari to that championship once again, but I don't think one of their drivers will be champion. Max Verstappen is going to be doing everything he can to extract every ounce of performance from Red Bull, but I do think his run of 4 titles will come to an end this year, so it won't be 5 in a row for the Dutchman. I think we will see a new world champion. I'm going for Charles Leclerc to win the championship this year for Ferrari. As I said, McLaren will be favourites. Norris and Piastri might start looking at each other a bit too much, and that could allow the Ferrari man, if he remains consistent along with the team over the course of the year, that could allow him in. I think he's ready to be champion because he's shown over the last couple of years he's learning to eradicate the weaknesses. He still has weak points. No driver is completely perfect, but he's becoming more and more rounded as the seasons and the races go by. He's been in Formula One since the 2018 season, where he did that year with Sauber. Then he joined Ferrari in 2019, and he has been top dog ever since. Will Lewis Hamilton push him to another level? We'll have to wait and see. And if he does find that extra level, then he's absolutely ready for a world championship charge. It might seem strange to describe Lewis Hamilton as a wingman in this situation, but he's the perfect person for that job. If he can win when he needs to, he will. But he'll also see the bigger picture if he's not in the title fight. And he will do what's best for Ferrari because he knows that it will come back to him if he's in that situation next season. So I'm tipping Charles Leclerc. Let me know in the comments who you think the 2025 world champion will be. So that's my predictions made. I'll leave all of the topics that I've just covered as a template in the comments, and you can copy and paste it into a comment and send me your answers in the comments section. We'll come back to these in December when we've seen a champion crowned and find out how many I got right and kind of how accurate some of those other more sort of vague ones were, like the biggest surprise and how Lewis got on and stuff like that. So yeah, that should be fun. Let me know who you think is going to be world champion. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. You're the best, fans. Bye for now.